We've got some freshly picked cocoa pods to show you. So these are different coloured. Obviously one's yellow and one's red, but they're from the same species of cocoa. So they actually just come off different trees, and some produce yellow pods and some produce these beautiful, rich, reddy orange pod. And they're quite large, as you can see, and they're actually quite heavy. So this is what fresh chocolate looks like when it's picked by hand off the tree. And if you have a look at the tree behind me, you can see there's actually pods hanging on the tree. So we've got one here that you can see. And these are all hand picked, so there's no commercial way of growing and harvesting chocolate. It all has to be cut off by hand so that you don't damage the pod in the process. The tiny little flowers that are produced along the wooden bark, here's a little bud here, and these are actually pollinated by midges. So it's a tiny little flower, and they're tiny insects that pollinate it and then produce these massive pods. So really beautiful to look at, and they're quite hard and woody when they're freshly picked like this, and obviously a really gorgeous object.
We get our pods, look for the stem end, cut in the middle, pull that bottom piece off, and the seeds hang there from that central placenta. We then pull those seeds off by hand, put them into the fermenting box. They sit there and ferment for that 5 to 7 days. Where over that period, all that white mucilage will ferment and liquefy and leave us with the wet bean that goes off to get dried.
So Gerard's just shown us how to open the pod, and you basically cut around the middle and then pull the bottom off, and it just slides off to access the beans inside. So if you want to grow cocoa, the first thing is that you need to be in a tropical climate. And as you can see, these trees are actually kept really small. So the other thing, because they're hand picked, you actually need to prune your trees back. So the top of these trees are cut off every year, and that keeps them small so that all the fruit are within reach and they can be easily harvested. But you do need to be north of 18 degrees in order to grow cacao. They will not grow in a cold climate. They're strictly tropical. So if you are in the tropics, it's definitely worth planting a cacao, and you could harvest your own beautiful pods. And if you're brave enough, you could have a go at making your own chocolate. So traditionally, chocolate is grown overseas in tropical countries, and it's grown in poor countries, and often the workplace is exploited. So Australian chocolate is really rare, and we're here at Sweets Farm in Mossman, which is where they're growing Australian chocolate to produce a local produce, a Daintree chocolate. So it's really fabulous to get this ethical, fair trade product. So buy a local product, buy an Australian product, and support your local farmers. So this is Daintree chocolate.